So hello everybody. Today we're doing a podcast. Basically, we're just going to talk about the things we do, and she's going to ask questions because, well, we're kids. She's not.
First of all, we're actually talking about life. Second of all, it doesn't matter if she's a kid. It actually matters what she can do to change our life and help us benefit too.
Okay, it's got that. Yeah. All right. So today, okay, everybody. Today I'm not going to be teaching. We're just going to be talking. We're going to be having a conversation. All right. So I'm going to be asking you a few questions. These are questions that I, as a parent, I know that kids feel. I know that you guys, you might be kids, but you still have your own view of things. You have feelings. You have, you have your emotions, right? So we're going to talk about that today, and we hope that as our viewers are listening and watching, they'll have something. They'll gain something one way or the other.
Especially
right?
the parents.
Parents and kids inclusive. Okay.
So
we want to hear.
It's actually good, but I don't really know.
Okay, so we want to hear actually what it's like to be a kid in 2026. Okay, we haven't relaxed. So what it's like from your perspective to be a kid in this world in these days, right? We know, especially in this new generation, a lot of things are happening, and as kids, you have your own view of things. So we want to hear from you, and also as parents, we want to know how we can also be better. We can serve you better. We can parent you better. How we can live together and be at peace, and you guys you grow the way you're supposed to, and we parent and we're happy as God wants us to. Okay, are we good?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to be asking you a few questions. So let's begin with actually what it's like actually to be a kid.
We have to deal with this thing. Well, you already know this, but just to give it a dramatic effect. You see, as a kid, you deal with this thing called homework. It is basically going to work, but you get it from different places. It's just kids' work. Homework. Just so annoying. Especially for me and Danza. No, the thing is, for example, let's say you want to play some video games on the weekend. For us, we have piano homework, taekwondo homework, graphic design homework, school homework. It's so annoying. The one time we want to play games, right? You're like, do your homework. You have like 10 pages. And by the time we finish your homework, you're like, okay, it's time for bed.
Oh yeah, okay, it's time for bed. Going somewhere tomorrow.
Like, come on.
But isn't it, if you're going somewhere tomorrow, isn't that technically good because then you have adventure outdoors and actually touching grass?
You do realize most of the remember that time you took us to that funeral? We're not gonna talk about that. Remember that time you took us to I think it was a church thing, right? And we came there. Basically all we did was play pool because there was absolutely nothing, and we had to keep quiet even though the balls were made out of like some sort of metal.
I know there are those days where you basically just have to follow your parents.
Oh, that time
because there's no one. We can't leave you at home, right? So
yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Actually, I think to support what Dazzle said,
I demand.
why I think homework
Brilliant.
is bad. Why I think homework is bad because you do the work at home, where you're supposed to be. Where kids think home is a place to calm down, eat ice cream, and play video.
No,
Mom, you do the work at
school.
No interrupting, thank you. At home, you do the work at home. At home is where you do the work, and it's mostly annoying because you're coming back from school, especially if you're walking. You're coming back from school, and all that weight on your back, and then
maybe this will help. Let's talk about the history of homework. How homework started. Why is there homework? Basically,
I know.
I don't know.
Why?
Ask the
So that's
teacher.
why. Let's talk about it.
I know.
Okay, go ahead.
We have homework because we need to blame the Egyptians.
What?
I watched this video once because the Egyptians created homework. Because they'd have these stone tablets. Instead of sending kids to school to do absolutely nothing, the pharaoh of that generation decided instead of that they should be carving things on tablets like work, and that's why we had the Egyptians to make for homework.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think homework is just so that teachers know that you're actually listening.
Exactly.
That's what school
It's
work
just so
is
annoying.
for.
Like, mommy.
That's what school guys.
If school.
Yes. Can I have the pick up the microphone?
Right? Like, think about it. We work at school, and we're expected to work at home too.
Well,
Explain.
well,
No. Explain.
I don't know all the answers,
Explain.
but I feel like homework actually started from teachers having to make sure kids are not just going home just to play the rest of the day.
We don't play video games. Why don't the good students, like the good students who get straight A's and always get everything good, they don't get homework because they actually listen in class, and you prove it, right, by answering questions, and they know, oh, these people actually know what they're doing, and we're actually teaching them.
Exactly.
and they
Why can't
actually listen.
teachers just realize that?
Okay,
Because
maybe.
you're not a full A student. Are you a full A student?
No.
Exactly. That answers all your questions.
Actually,
Shots fired. You should literally fire the bomb shot.
Wait. First of all, there are straight A's because of their skills and brain power.
Oh no, we don't
I think
get
homework is
A's.
for everybody.
We don't get A's.
regardless.
Homework is not for everybody. One time I had my cousin. He came home, and while I was doing work from my grandma school, while I was doing work, he was playing on his Nintendo Switch, eating rice.
Yeah.
And then he came in front of me when I was doing my homework and said, "It sucks to be me." And then I asked him why he gets homework.
wait.
And then I asked him why I get homework and he doesn't. He said because he's a smart student. Then I took a calculator and I asked him a question. I said, what is 1,000 divided by 800 times 2? He couldn't answer. And that is something we learned that same day I went to my grandma's school.
Wait, no.
No,
Wait, if I write
that's
it on
not the answer.
If I write it on a
so
paper, I'm
the whole idea is that homework actually started from generation long ago, and like I always tell you, maybe things like this that don't really make sense anymore in this generation could be changed by you guys. If you think that it doesn't make sense anymore, because I mean life is changing. I'm not saying
I'm not gonna lie, you always say that.
I do, because things are changing.
Life is changing.
And you guys need to take the lead, right? That's why we are training, doing all the work, so that, you can be the change makers.
I have a question. What if we become something like presidents and then we decide to ban
Exactly.
homework?
Wait, and there's a way to become a president.
Run for election. Use IQ. Do paperwork.
Okay.
Bro,
Exactly.
do you like paperwork? Do you like homework? Tell me, do you like homework?
Yeah, it helps me build my brain. Is that a
No,
problem?
do you like homework?
It's
Is
actually
homework?
pretty goated.
No, I like to do homework on days like Wednesdays and Thursdays.
No, what's your favorite
Especially
subject?
science
What's your
and
favorite
history
subject?
Math. My favorite subject.
Yes.
I don't have a favorite subject. My favorite subjects are math, English, social science, French, gym, art.
What about
That's the
history?
whole
Algebra.
What about history?
History.
Well, see, again-
history is social studies.
Okay. All right. So the whole idea is that homework is supposed to make you busy at home, not just playing. So that's why teachers give you homework. So if you have extracurricular classes, that makes you even work harder, which is good. At the end of the day, the harder you work, the more prepared you are for the world, because the world is tough.
I used to have a
I know. We work smart and you also work hard. It's two things joined together. You don't just work smart and forget that it works. Being smart is hard work, right? It has to be. You have to be extra to be smart, because everybody is basically at a level. For you, you're only smart if you're higher than the average, or if you're higher than every other person, right?
Yeah,
so that
but-
means you have to put in more work than every other person.
But
So that makes you. Well, let's round, because we have a lot of things to talk about.
Yes.
So let's not talk dilly dally.
I just have an example.
guys, right?
There was this guy named there's this guy named I think it was what is his name? He's a good doctor.
Albert Einstein.
No, it's called Gifted. There's this movie about him, Gifted Hands.
Ben Carson.
Yes, he was a straight A student. He studied, but then he got bullied at school for being the smartest. So how does that technically help us at school?
Times have changed.
Okay, Adi, so basically now, what's the best part of being a kid?
The
That's
best,
all
The
you-
best part
you
of
just
being
like
a
about being a
kid is the best part of being a kid, in my perspective, is having parents. That's the best part of being a kid.
How do you mean by that?
Because if you don't have parents, first of all, you wouldn't be alive. Second of all, if you didn't have parents,
No, what if your parents
Let him talk. Somebody's talking.
in that case, if your parents left you, then first you would be most likely to be. I'm not gonna, since we're not supposed to be saying anything bad, but it would lead you to a path of destruction. But if I was to say the most important thing in an average kid's life is their parents, then when it comes to what they do, video games. Like an average kid can, in research, an average kid about 6 to 10 years old can spend 3 hours playing video games non-stop.
Yeah, well,
I switched it up.
yeah.
We've done that
That's
We've done that.
that's what we see these days. That's why I keep yelling. I can't have you playing video games for 3 hours. I can't allow that.
My mom, she gives us restricted times at home.
Exactly.
It'd be like 2 hours.
So how do we balance that? You guys like video games because you're kids and you're boys. Video games are fun. Video games are energetic. It's dopamine pumping. You're happy when you're playing video games.
There's something my
But
mom
then if it
does.
takes too long, I get mad because first of all, you become so addicted to it. You're spending all your time doing it. You don't have time to do anything else, and that's not acceptable as a parent, right? There are other things in life that you can do with your life. No, I mean it's fun. Well, until these days, we started seeing people making things out of playing video games. Yes, that's commendable. However, it's called. There's something about balancing, right? Again, I'm not teaching in this video, but at the end of the day, we still want to make sure that we take out something useful.
So your teacher, yeah.
Well,
No, she's not.
I'm technically not teaching, but we just have to, you know.
There's something my mom does, right? To make her not get angry, instead of screaming and talking, my mom, what she does is sometimes she sings about it, and then sometimes
That's a good strategy. Maybe I should learn that.
She will sing about it and start making jokes about it. So when you now feel the pressure of saying, "Is this how I actually look?" You hop off of the computer and start actually doing something else. She starts making good songs.
Right.
But sometimes my sister and I, we like go back on promises. So
That's what kids
one
do.
time my mom, I told her when we were walking home once that I want to quit using screens until Friday and watch only one movie.
And only 2 minutes later.
Didn't work.
As soon as I got home that day, when my sister was using a screen, I asked my mom if I could use my computer. She was about to let me, not remembering what she said. Like the next thing I know, she comes back and say, "Didn't you just say this?" And
So why do you think that happens? Because it's already a level of addiction.
Maybe
it's already
because-
you're already so used to it that you don't. That's the only thing your brain is actually like literally thinking of. Just like
kids-
Declan. Declan, once he comes back from school, the first thing he's thinking about, he doesn't even remember his extracurricular classes. He doesn't remember anything else. It's just games.
my
But then
I
I'm
don't
always
remember
yelling.
chores.
I know that you enjoy to play games. Like I said again, there's balance in everything, and I want you to be able to find that balance. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to raise a man here that will look back and say thank you to my mom, thank you to my dad for raising a responsible human for the world.
E instead of an A in man.
Say again.
E instead of an A in man.
Men.
What?
One,
Well,
two.
man, of course. Thank you. So, right? So when I'm yelling, it's not because I actually want to yell or I don't want you playing games, I don't want you having fun. It's just because I want you to be able to find that balance. Have fun, but then still do useful things with your life. Yes.
I remember one day, so at the start of the long weekend, Thursday and Friday we didn't have school. Definitely once he came back from school on Friday,
It's easy to point fingers. How about you?
on Wednesday,
Exactly.
he went there. The first thing he did,
Wait.
he went
don't get
upstairs
mad.
to his dad and he was like, can I play? And guess what his dad said? He said, go, do all your stuff, and then you play. All he did, take off his clothes, put on house clothes, and went to play video games. Literally hours.
Declan, wait, just let him
Literally
finish.
hours. The next day, I reminded him, oh, you have to do your homework. He was about to do it. You have to unpack your bag. You did it, but
So are you saying you're perfect here?
I have a question.
I'm not
You're telling me he's never reminded you of something before. You're telling me you've never gone to your dad and asked him for video games.
I didn't. It's easy to
Well,
blame.
that's-
No, it's easy to blame, but to be blamed.